You can torture them, you can push them across the border, you can drop them in the sea. I mean, what have we descended to? Are we living in a civilized country anymore? This is totally uncivil behavior, both on the part of the government as well as on the part of the courts. I have to say this. This is totally uncivil behavior, totally inhumane behavior. It's very unfortunate that a court which was once held in very high esteem internationally has descended to saying that India is not a dharamshala, they have no Article 19 rights, India has not signed the Refugee Convention, therefore they can be dealt with in any manner, that they can be pushed back, they can be dropped in the sea. It's very, very unfortunate what is happening in this country. But every country in the world has to treat refugees in a manner which is consistent with their right to life. And this is what Article 21 of the Constitution also requires. So it's very unfortunate that today, unfortunately, the Supreme Court is kind of using the same kind of words that this inhuman government uses when dealing in this totally inhuman way with these refugees. Thousands of them have been killed in Myanmar in this ethnic cleansing that has been happening there, and therefore they have been forced to flee. The 22,000 or 23,000 odd Rohingyas who are in India have almost all been given refugee cards by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. And the Indian government says that we have not signed the Refugee Convention. Okay, you may not have signed the Refugee Convention, though India keeps saying at various UN meetings, including, as you were told, India sits on the Executive Committee of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Everywhere they say that our standard operating procedure is to follow the Refugee Convention. But okay, suppose you don't follow the Refugee Convention. Does it mean that you can treat these Rohingya refugees by just blindfolding them, torturing them, taking them in a naval ship and dropping them in the ocean on the border of Myanmar and asking them to swim across? When Myanmar has clearly stated that they are not accepting them because they say that we do not recognize them as citizens. Even this interim order of the Supreme Court which was made in 2021, what was that interim order? In that pending case regarding the living conditions and against deportation of these Rohingya refugees, we filed an interim application regarding illegal detention of about 150 Rohingyas in Jammu, in the Jammu detention center. Now, the Supreme Court, this was during COVID when hearings were being held virtually, and the Supreme Court passed an interim order saying that look, we don't care what is happening in any other country, etc., and therefore we refuse to give you any interim order. We even refuse to stop their deportation. Though basically the issue was detention. Now when these people, or on their behalf, some people went to the court, and Colin was there, I was also there, and when we said that look, they are now being not just detained, they are being deported in this illegal manner. They are being dropped into the sea, they are just being pushed back without any, because even that last interim order of the Supreme Court of 2021 said that we are not stopping their deportation, but their deportation has to happen in accordance with law. Now the law and the standard operating procedure requires that if you want to deport them, you have to have that other country accept them. Manipur, the state of Manipur filed an affidavit in the High Court there saying that we cannot deport this one particular Rohingya refugee in the jail because Myanmar is refusing to accept him. And yet, despite Myanmar refusing to accept them, we are just telling them either to just run across the border or dropping them in the sea that you swim across. Now, this is totally inhuman. Not only inhuman, it is a clear violation of every norm of international law and our constitution. The Supreme Court, in some oral observations made in the recent hearing, said that look, they are not citizens, they don't have Article 19 rights of right to reside anywhere in India. We are not asking for their Article 19 rights. We are only asking for their Article 21 rights, which applies to non-citizens also. And Article 21 is the right to life and liberty and to be treated in a dignified way. How is this dignified? How is this even consistent with the right to life of these Rohingya refugees, where you are asking them to just swim across? You are dropping them in the sea, asking them to swim across to Myanmar, where they are facing genocide. See, India may not have signed the Refugee Convention, but we have signed so many other international conventions, the Genocide Convention. It's a clear violation of the Genocide Convention to send them back to a country, force them back to a country where they are facing genocide, and everybody recognizes that they are facing genocide in Myanmar. It's a violation of the Convention Against Torture. You are yourself torturing them and you are sending them back to a country where they will be tortured. Clear violation of the Convention Against Torture, which India has signed. It's a clear violation of the Convention on Child Rights, which India has also signed, where you send children back like this. And therefore, there are multiple reasons, legal, in terms of course, India may not have signed the Refugee Convention, but the status of refugees has been accepted to be part of such basic and fundamental international law. It's called jus cogens. It says that it doesn't matter whether any country has signed or not signed the Refugee Convention, but every country in the world has to treat refugees in a manner which is consistent with their right to life. And this is what Article 21 of the Constitution also requires. So it's very unfortunate that today, unfortunately, the Supreme Court is kind of using the same kind of words that this inhuman government uses when dealing in this totally inhuman way with these refugees. They are now saying India is not a dharamshala. You keep saying that India is Vasudev Kutumbakam. You keep tom-tomming all the time that Article 21 rights, India has a humane constitution, Article 21 rights applies to everybody, citizen and non-citizen. And yet you are saying that no, they have no rights. You can treat them as you want. You can torture them. You can push them across the border. You can drop them in the sea. I mean, what have we descended to? Are we living in a civilized country anymore? This is totally uncivil behavior, both on the part of the government as well as on the part of the courts. I have to say this. This is totally uncivil behavior, totally inhumane behavior. It's very unfortunate that a court which was once held in very high esteem internationally has descended to saying that India is not a dharamshala, they have no Article 19 rights, India has not signed the Refugee Convention, therefore they can be dealt with in any manner, that they can be pushed back, they can be dropped in the sea. It's very, very unfortunate what is happening in this country. It seems that the mentality which has been spawned by this right wing in this country who indulge in mob lynching, etc., that this mentality and this psychology has seeped through into sections of civil society, and that's why into sections of even the judiciary, and that's why civil society, it's the responsibility of civil society in this country to ensure that this country behaves in a humane manner, that that we treat these people, the worst, I mean the worst sufferers in the world, in a humane manner.